doing?
Commander Ninjutsu, dude.
Well, I don't know. Varina, like, she likes zombies. But mine, I really wasn't focused on that too much. Well, I had to be enough to get her ability to go. So yeah, I'll hit you with mine first. So Varina the Lich Queen, or just Varina Lich Queen, is 1 a white, a blue, and a black for legendary creature zombie wizard, Arthas's girlfriend. Whenever you attack with 1 or more zombies, draw that many cards, then discard that many cards. You may gain that, or you gain that much life. Then she has an activated ability is 2, exile 2 cards from your graveyard, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. She's a 4/4. So every time you swing with zombies, you're kind of like churning through your deck, drawing, discarding. Drawing, discarding is kind of what the message is with her. So rather than, I think first off, like you're thinking like, well, let's just get as many zombies as we can.
Can I just point something out?
What?
Much how we pointed out this last week that I'm really bad at hyping up a combo.
Uh-huh.
We're really bad at hyping up the fact that we have a guest here.
Oh. Yeah, we do. Hey, AP.
Hey.
I mean, I'm just getting into this shit. Let's go.
Andy is not the kind of guy that's into foreplay.
Just ready.
AP, are you ready to fuck, dude?
I'm ready to fuck. I fucked before. We did Chainer.
I've gotten that feedback.
Just not on YouTube. Have I
foreplay.
fucked yet?
Okay, on to Varina.
Okay, anyway, so
Can
where
we
we
just
were.
cuddle for a bit? I mean, I don't know. Like,
Looking busy, dude.
Star Trek Voyager's gonna be on. I gotta like get this done.
Give me some butterfly kisses, man. Give me some butterfly kisses.
All right, sorry, God. Sorry. This is why, we're never going to be able to do product placement with our podcast. I'm like, yeah, there's these people, whatever, let's fucking
Just like obviously over
Like,
here.
It's just not working. Yeah, it's just not, oh, fuck, I forgot. So the direction I decided to take with Varina, what I wanted to do was abuse the fact that you're drawing and discarding rather than trying to go very wide with the zombies. Because I feel like the wider you go, the more likely you are going to call out a board wipe because you have to attack and then you're losing that ability.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to kind of keep it in the middle of things. But now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have included some kind of sack outlet to pay it off if I could get it.
Always include a sack outlet.
I know, dude. I didn't. But yeah, if it was going to be any changes, that's what I'd kind of go for. So discard. I kind of borrowed a lot from the Zur Astral Slide thing. You could put something like that in there, like for cycling, but I wasn't really looking for that. I looked for cards that said if you cycle or discard a card.
Yeah.
So one that sticks out is the one that should kind of float to the top when you're thinking about discard is the Archfiend of Ifnir.
Ooh.
It's 3 a black and a black for a creature demon flying whenever you cycle or discard. So there's the keyword. Another card, put a -1/1 counter on each creature your opponents control. You could cycle him too. Just pay 2 and discard him. Draw a card. So if we've got 2 zombies and Varina out and this guy, we're just going to subtract 3 from everybody. You can just put 3 -1/1 counters on all your opponent's creatures.
That's
just for attacking. So if you drop him and you've already kind of set up with the zombies, it that's it. We're done. Like a lot of
it's asymmetrical too, right? Like it says opponents.
Yes,
like it's only opponents.
Yeah. So
okay,
it's symmetric.
Yeah.
Or asymmetrical.
Yeah. You now control the board.
Yeah. The other discard. So I'm just kind of going over the why would we want to focus on discard piece. There's 2 enchantments that came out of Amonkhet. One is every time you discard a card, you can pay 1. It's called the Drake Haven. It's 2 and a blue to get a Drake token. I didn't include that one because I don't know. I'm an idiot. I probably should have because I put this other one in because I wanted to see how it went. But really, you should probably do this one. So you could do that one or this. It's 2 and a white. Whenever a player discards a card from his or her hand, you may pay 1 white if you do create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying into play. So I really would probably just do the Drake Haven over this one.
Okay.
Depending on where you're landing with your colors. If you're doing like a lot of blue, or if white's like your primary, then yeah, you could end up with this one because you're more likely to create.
Sense.
Yeah, I don't know, but they're 2/2s versus 1/1s. Like they're just objectively worse. They do double the damage this
Sure.
one. Another one that's kind of focused on discard, kind of, is the black version of this card. It's called Faith of the Devoted. So in my experience, this one kind of pulls a lot of the table's focus. Because I have a Zur cycling deck. This is one of my targets.
Right.
So it's 2 and a black. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, you may pay 1. If you do, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. So in the same example, you need to hold the mana up, but you basically can drain the table for 6, and you would gain 6. So it's not, you don't gain that much. You gain 2, they lose 2, but it equates out to 6.
But yeah, I mean, that's a big swing with Varina, for sure.
Yeah, it's only 3 creatures. It's her and 2 zombies.
Right.
The table's getting pulled for 6. You're gaining 6. But yeah, you can definitely go wider with that. So this kind of idea.
Okay.
Discarding, you gain advantage from yourself discarding. The other side of it is to try to take advantage of the card draw triggers. So the 2 that stick out is Words of Waste and Words of Wind. So the same idea. Instead of the discard side of it, when you draw the card, because remember her card says draw, then discard. Words of Waste is 2 and a black. The next time you would draw a card, you can pay 1, and each opponent discards a card from his or her hand. So
it's one of my favorite cards.
Is it?
For doing this type of a thing.
I see it as card advantage. You don't draw, but your opponents discard. So you have 3 cards getting removed from
rather than you drawing 1, you're making
people's hands.
all of your opponents lose 1. Like that is advantage.
Yeah, it might not feel as good immediately because you're not like looking at all the cards. But yeah, if you look at the table, these guys have 5 cards against your whatever.
Yeah.
But in the same example, Varina, 2 zombies, and 3 mana, everyone's discarding 3 cards.
Oh yeah.
And you're not drawing any. I mean, you don't need to do it. You can try to stack it where you're drawing 2, they're discarding whatever, I guess.
And it has a really nice synergy with her because it's kind of an if-then with Varina, right? Like you draw the 3 cards and then, or draw the cards, then discard, right? Like,
yeah.
So it's just kind of replaced, right?
Yeah. Words of Wind is the same idea, 2 and a blue. The activation this time says each player returns a permanent he or she controls to its owner's hand. So you basically send off a bounce. I don't know about the effectiveness of this one because you would need a combo with it. You have to have something that you want to be coming in and out of play. It's the thing that you keep choosing to have returned to your hand. So like a Baleful Strix or something easy. I think there's an enchantment. I think it's that one that exiles somebody's hand and they draw that many cards. That combo.
Induced Amnesia?
I think that combos with this one. Because I was trying to think of that combo when you talked about last episode.
It was kind of like,
and I'm still drawing a blank about it. I swear we talked about it somewhere. There's the white version of this card. I didn't include it, but you could if you really like having your life. Because you do gain life from her attack, but this would be 2 and a white the next time you would draw a card. This turn instead you gain 5 life instead. So in this example, you would gain 18 life. So 3 from the 3 zombies attacking. And then if you have the 3 mana up and you cancel the draw, then you would gain 18 life from 3 creatures attack. That's pretty.
It's not bad.
It's not bad,
yeah, especially
right?
if you can weaponize that life too, being in black too. Just dump it into.
Oh yeah.
So it's not bad.
Let's put some hatred in the deck. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably would put that in instead of the Words of Wind unless I can figure out that I cannot fucking remember what you do with the damn thing. There is a way to combo pretty hard with that Words of Wind card.
Yeah.
Quickly. So yeah, those are kind of the discard draw targets. To kind of make the draw a little crazier, I included the Alhammarret's Archive. So it's 5 mana. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much instead. So that's good for the attack.
Cool.
If you would draw a card, you draw except the first one you draw for your draw step, you draw 2 cards instead. So you're drawing 2, discarding 1, gaining 2.
Is it? So what's the language on her? Does it say then discard that many?
Yes.
So
I think it says.
So would that get around Alhammarret's Archive?
No, it wouldn't. It says if you draw 1 or more, draw that many cards. Then if you then discard that many cards. So maybe it does attach to that. Whatever. You're seeing more of the deck.
But yeah, you're getting more of your deck
and gaining twice the life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the package that circles around discard. I included Shadow of the Grave in there to see if you have one of those really big pulls, like let's say you have a really, really big swing with zombies, you can pull them all back. So it's 1 in a black. It says instant. Return to your hand all cards that you discard, all cards in your graveyard that you cycled or discarded this turn.
Fuck.
Yeah, so everything that you threw out, you just pull back.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I like that a ton.
I liked it with my Zur Astral Slide list. I find like I hold it a lot. Like I'm always waiting to like do some big
really
push.
Good juicy moment.
But it can get pretty nutty when you've canceled the cost of cycling with the the artifact that basically wipes out their casting cost or their cycling cost.
Hearthstone, and then is it Training Grounds or whatever?
No, there's one that says cycling costs 2 less.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
It's some artifact. It's like
specific to something.
Yeah, it's a huge keystone to the deck.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of that idea. But then again, like we do have to kind of focus on the zombies.
Sure.
So let me talk about that. So there's Graph Harvest. It's 1 black enchantment. Zombies you control have menace. So since you're attacking with them, I wanted to make it difficult for your opponents to block. At least, because they are part of the engine, the discard and churn engine.
You need to preserve them a little bit for your uses.
Right. To supplement that idea, again, you have Reconnaissance. It's 1 white, and then you can pay 0, move target attacking creature you control from combat, untap it. So you can attack with them and just pull them back if it's disfavored, like if you're going to be blocked. And
I've
then
been a fan of that card lately.
I think it worked. I think it worked for Kestia because it's on attack you draw, and this chick it's on attack you draw discard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're in white and it's an attack trigger instead of combat, it's like
may as well, right?
It's 1 mana too. It's not a huge investment.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So these kind of help the zombies attack safer. The other thing I would say is the Death Baron is one of the lords that I was interested in because now they have Death Touch. So unless they really don't value their creatures, I feel like this one is probably the better lord.
And you can help your skeletons too, right? With that one?
Yeah, it does. Stay tuned for that skeleton tribal list.
Are you telling me you don't have reassembling skeleton in this?
I don't have it.
Oh shit.
Death Baron, it's 1 a black and a black. Skeleton creatures you control, and I guess if you care, who gives a shit, zombie creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. It's a 2/2. Yeah, so that one's
skeleton tribal.
Yeah, kind of the other. So the lords I included was that one, and then the Cemetery Reaper, 1 a black and a black. Other zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. But the reason I put it in there is that you can exile a creature card from a graveyard and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into the battlefield. So it's a little bit of graveyard hate for you.
Yeah.
What are my other ones? Oh yeah, the Diagraph Captain. It's 1 a blue and a black. It itself has Death Touch. But then it says other creatures, zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. And then whenever a zombie you control dies, target player loses 1 life. So you can punish the guy who's going to board wipe you.
Yeah, I like that a ton.
You gonna wipe my board, huh, buddy?
It's something that I think Red does really well because it has like the Stalking Vengeance and what is it called? Vicious Shadows. They don't kill my board because it's gonna hurt.
Oh, yeah, I like those. I like those like pick your poison kind of scenarios.
Kind of like a rattlesnakey type effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then adding to that, the Lord of the Accursed is another lord. It's 2 and a black. Other zombies you control get +1/+1, but then you can pay 1 in black and tap it. All zombies gain menace until end of turn. So it's kind of adding to that idea that let's make it difficult for them to block because we're gonna have to go sideways. I don't say this guy's a lord. It's more of another one of those, hey, don't board wipe. 3 a black and a black for a Noxious Ghoul. Whenever Noxious Ghoul or another zombie enters the battlefield, or sorry, wrong one. But it says whenever Noxious Ghoul or another zombie enters the battlefield, all non-zombie creatures get -1/-1 till end of turn. So this is kind of the Ifnir side of things.
Yeah.
Is this guy? There's one guy that if they die, it's a Vengeful Dead. Sorry, I got that one confused. So it's 3 and a black. Whenever Vengeful Dead or another zombie is put into a graveyard from play, so not even yours, each opponent loses 1 life.
Oh, and that's each in that case too.
Yeah, whenever
it's not just target, it's each.
It's any zombie. Yeah,
that one could get going.
Yeah,
pretty heavily. Like that would hurt.
So those are kind of like the lords and the deterrents. So don't. And there's one more. The Plague Belcher. It's 2 and a black menace. When Plague Belcher enters the battlefield, you put 2 -1/1 counters on target creature you control. So it kind of hurts another creature.
Yeah.
So you can put it on it, which would make it a 3/2.
Okay.
But this is whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. But I'm very big on trying to keep your board going because it's without it you're not going to be churning your deck.
Sure.
And getting these like draining triggers, and I think it kind of subordinates a little bit, or at least supplements the Faith of the Devoted, because every time I'm discarding, you're losing 2 life. If the zombies ever go away, we're just kind of going further and further down.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything else zombie related that needs to be talked about. The Diregraph Colossus. It's 2 and a black. Diregraph Colossus enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each zombie card in your graveyard. So if you're discarding zombie cards,
yes.
I don't see this one getting very big, but it says whenever you cast a zombie spell, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into the battlefield tapped. So it's kind of making more zombies for you.
Yeah, so it kind of supplements your deck a little bit with just more.
Yeah, I just figured like if something happened where your lords ended up in the yard, or you just had to discard something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it I don't expect this thing being very big. It's more just whenever you cast a zombie spell, you get a zombie. That's kind of the idea. There's the new Liliana. What is it? The Death's Majesty. She can get you some zombies.
Yeah, she's the new. I think I have it in mind. Let me see.
Crypt Breaker is another one for a bit of that discard too. So it's black. You can pay 1 in a black, tap, discard a card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into the battlefield. So you can use that to piggyback some of the discard things. Okay. But then you can tap 3 untapped zombies you control, you draw a card, and you lose 1 life. There's the the Cryptborn Muse. That's another one that's pretty nutty. I figure with the card draw with this, I didn't include it, but it could cancel it off. So that one says you lose life for every zombie you control and draw that many cards at your upkeep, I think. So you could cancel that out a little bit as long as you're really going sideways.
Sure.
With her life gain thing.
Liliana Untouched by Death.
Is that the one that's the zombie one?
Yeah, that's the M19 one.
What does she do?
So it's a 2 colorless, 2 black. It has 4 loyalty counters on it already. So +1, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. If at least one of them is a zombie card, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So it's a good kind of drain right there. Yeah. The -2 is something I really like on here too. It's the target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of zombies you control.
Okay. She can just clip somebody.
Yeah, clip somebody. And then the 3 is good too. You may cast zombie cards from your graveyard this turn.
Oh.
Yeah, so she doesn't have
rather than using Varina's exile.
What's her loyalty when she comes in?
4.
And what's her alt?
So that was her ult. The -3. You may cast zombies cards from your graveyard.
She comes out.
So exactly. It's not one of those huge ones.
That's not like a broken ultimate. It's just
she probably needs in the deck then. You probably want to acquire her.
I have it in mind.
If you're churning through, but yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I wasn't trying to go for zombie tribal. I'm trying to go through. I'm trying to take advantage of the discard as much as I can.
The zombies are there to supplement a different primary.
Yeah, which is the churning of the deck. The Vengeful Pharaoh. Dude, I remember when I saw this card was buried when we first started playing, and
when it was in a core set, right?
It was in core 12, and this is the thing that was like, because if you look, he's got a Bolas hat on.
Yeah, it's actually
like he's from Amonkhet for sure. Huh. They leaked Amonkhet years before they actually did.
There were plans for that for a long time ago, for sure.
Yeah, Vengeful Pharaoh. It's 2 a black, and a black, so 3 black. Death Touch. Whenever combat damage is dealt to you or a planeswalker you control, if Vengeful Pharaoh is in your graveyard, destroy that target attacking creature, and then put Vengeful Pharaoh back on the top of your library. So it just
doesn't go away.
He's pretty easy to get in and out of the yard. So he's
Plus, you're happy to discard that one, right?
Yeah, so he's kind of leading me into my bridge of things you actually would like to discard. So he's kind of a good step between zombie help-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a zombie.
Yeah,
and then, things you would like to discard. So number 1 would be Wonder. 3 and a blue, flying. As long as Wonder is in your graveyard and you control an island, creatures you control are flying.
Oh no!
Well known.
I had to discard that. I'm so bad.
Well known evasion mechanic for commander.
Yeah.
Then it's brother card, Filth, 3 and a black, Swamp Walk. As long as Filth is in your graveyard and control swamp creatures, you control a Swamp Walk. It's a 2/2, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, and our meta has a lot of black too.
Yeah, so if
That's actually true.
I would bet a lot of metas have a lot of black.
Yeah.
A lot of black and a lot of blue.
It's the most well-rounded color for commander.
Yeah.
And if you're playing off these precons, like there's the other guy who bought your Esper deck, and then the dude who didn't read anything and bought the Jund deck before do his research. So Glory is also a sister card to this. It's a little more of me being overly cautious about the zombies, but Glory is 3 a white and a white flying. You can pay 2 and a white. Creatures you control gain protection from the color of your choice until the end of the turn. Play this ability only if Glory's in your graveyard. So it doesn't have that thing of because the Wonder and Filth need a swamp or an island to do their thing.
Sure.
There's another white card that I think just gives them first strike. You could do that too. Is it Justice, or it's another one of these incarnations that's white?
Yeah.
I didn't really do that one. That with the Death Baron would be pretty dope though, because they have first strike death touch. But I'm kind of leaning on the I really can't have these guys go kind of thing. So those guys are really good to be discarding into the graveyard, and the Vengeful Pharaoh. The other bit in this is like things that it doesn't, I don't know, like something simple like Dread Return. It's 2 a black and a black. Mm-hmm. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, but then you can flash it back, sacrifice 3 creatures. You may cast this card from your graveyard from its splashback cost and then exile it. So if you can just sack 3 of your tokens to bring back something.
Yeah, and you're okay ditching it because it has flashback. Like,
yeah, you're okay to ditch it.
Yeah.
Or do it on both sides.
Sure.
A really great creature to flash back would be Elish Norn.
What?
The Lord of all lords. So if you're gonna do a lord of any kind of color, if white's in your thing, like why even bother? You know, she just completely turns them into 4/4s, and now everybody in front of them is subtracted by 2. Like,
yeah,
it's just
as
it's never gonna work out.
The blackest card in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Elish Norn is the blackest card in Magic the Gathering. From under the floorboards, it's 3 and 2 black. It says put 3 2/2 black zombie creature tokens into the battlefield tapped, and you gain 3 life. But it actually has this madness cost. So if it comes off of her trigger, you can pay X and a black. So rather than just doing the 3, you get however much mana you would want to commit to this. So if from under the floorboards madness cost was paid, instead put X of those tokens into the battlefield tapped, and you gain X life. So if you're really looking just to dump your mana like you have no other plans, then that would be...
Yeah, so you would get her trigger that forces you to draw and discard. Pay the madness cost as you're discarding with this one.
That's kind of the thought. Just as bidding, which is really kind of... I don't know. I'm just kind of like, how do I keep the tokens coming into play?
Yeah.
Right? Using her abilities nice and all for like lands and things like that, but with the recursion capability of the deck, I don't know if I'm really interested in spamming it all that much.
Okay.
But for stuff like this, I would, because it's a sorcery. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's 2 and 2 black. You put 2 black zombie creature tokens into the battlefield, but that cost is reduced down to 3 for the madness. So it's 2 and a black.
Yeah.
So when she attacks, you would discard the card. So if you discard this card, discard it into exile. So it kind of just goes into exile.
Okay.
And then you would get 3 of them because of her ability.
Yeah.
Right? No, you wouldn't get 3. You'd get 2 because you couldn't hurry up and exile it because it goes into exile.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Same with this other madness one. But I think those are the only 2 madness ones. I think that's another angle people try to take is let's think about madness.
Yeah, because it's a cool mechanic that's if you can take advantage of it, if it does offer you something, why not?
Yeah, I don't see it going to... those are the only 2 that I think I liked. There's some other ones. There's like ones that unsummon creatures. Like there's a bunch of madness cards in black, blue. Yeah. I think maybe there is some in white. I don't know. But those are the only 2 that really stuck out. I just wanted more zombies if I'm going to be doing anything to try to get, again, the churn going even further.
Sure.
What else? Kindred Dominance is kind of an asymmetric board wipe for this deck. 5 a black and a black. Choose a creature type to draw creatures that aren't the chosen type. I would suggest that you choose zombie when you cast it. But Varina herself is a zombie. She would survive this. Merciless Eviction is the obligatory Orzhov board wipe, right? 4 a white and a black. Choose 1, destroy all artifacts, or exile all artifacts, or creatures, or enchantments, or planeswalkers. So, finally taking advantage of that Orzhov color typing. Finally. Some other cards that kind of like I don't even need to talk about would be Anointed Procession. That's in every Varina list. It just makes makes sense. It actually makes more sense in Alhamet's archive. But yeah, 3 and a white. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, create twice that many of those tokens instead.
Yeah.
I'd probably get these as quick as you can.
Oh, it's only going to go up. Like when that came out in Amonkhet, It's, I mean, it was already like a well-needed card, I think, and it's just going to go up.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, tokening happens all the time in Commander.
Yeah.
Like...
So these are just some of the cards that generate tokens. Another one would be Liliana's Mastery. So she's 3. It's 3 and 2 black. Zombies you control get +1/+1, but when Liliana's Mastery enters the battlefield, create 2 black zombie creature tokens. So again, I'm really trying to get the tokens into play.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I mean, this and a Grave Titan, just do the Grave Titan, but it's just right before a Grave Titan.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
There's this one that really kind of is unique to Varina. It's the Necromancer's Covenant. So it's pretty expensive. It's 6 mana.
Okay.
3 white, black. An enchantment. When Necromancer's Covenant comes into play, remove all creature cards from target player's graveyard from the game. Then put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into play for each card removed this way. And then zombies you control have lifelink.
You could even just do it for your own yard.
Yeah, I was going to say,
crazy.
Was it...
Yeah, you could.
It's a target player, so you could do it with yourself, you probably made yourself a nice yard.
Yeah. It's only creatures that get the trigger, so you only exile creatures from the yard. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, graveyards.
I do like that because because usually graveyard hate, like sometimes it's meta specific. Like if you use that on a Karater, you're like, hell yeah. But I like that because you actually don't need to target someone that needs their yard. You can just, your yard's probably pretty plentiful by the time you get that off.
The lifelink is nice too.
Yeah.
But it's kind of expensive. But hey, I mean, graveyards are out of control lately, at least in my experience. Like I don't think I think it's one of those graveyard pieces it's not solely for the graveyard hate, like even if you get like 2 or 3 off of it, they still get the lifelink. Because Nihil Spellbomb's only for the graveyard hate. Like no one's really doing that for the card draw. Right.
Oh yeah. True.
And yeah, so
no, I do it for the card draw all the time. Every time.
I just went ahead with Cathar's Crusade too. So 3 a white and a white. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
It's honestly a win con.
Yeah, so I mean, just
if you're just gonna go,
I figured like why fuck with the Lord stuff too much when I have like Elish Norn and Cathar's Crusade. Like I guess you could do. I can never remember the card, the one that gives them all double strike and lifelink. If you're that guy,
True Conviction.
You could do that one too.
It's pretty color intensive.
It just doubles the power of your shit. Like why fucking
white.
bother? Or Akruma's Memorial is another one that would just be like, okay, Satan. I didn't do these things because I don't know. I wanted to kind of keep the discard thing going on. I guess I'm just
because you haven't fully committed to the right side.
I'm just being a hipster about this list. Let's just be fucking honest. I'm focused on draw and discard. Radiant Destiny, it's 2 and a black. Ascend. As Radiant Destiny enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Again, I would suggest that you do zombie.
Skeletons.
Fuck. It's not time. Creatures you control for the chosen type get a +1/+1. As long as you have the city's blessing, they also have vigilance. So that's pretty hot, right?
Yeah.
Getting vigilance.
Get your attack trigger, and then you have blockers.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the list. There was one other one there's 2 other ones that I thought were pretty neat. There's Planar Birth.
Planar Birth. What's that?
You give birth, dude.
Is there like lots of placentia there?
Yeah.
The whole planar level.
A whole ocean-sized placenta.
It's the whole plane.
Yeah.
So Planar Birth is 1 and a white for a sorcery. It says put all basic lands from all graveyards into play under their owner's control tapped.
Oh.
So if you've been aggressively discarding your basics, then
they just
pull them back.
Come right back in.
Or you can get a Crucible of Worlds. But this one's 92 cents.
Yeah, I was going to say the price difference is probably
for sure.
It's a little. They're comparable, right? 92 cents versus God only knows what the Crucible.
I wouldn't exactly
right
call it a budget option.
Yeah. Oversold Cemetery, it's 1 in the black. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So that Vengeful Pharaoh, it's kind of getting annoying now.
Yeah.
You keep discarding it, it's back in your yard. Discarding it, it's back in your yard. Or just, I don't know, anything, really. Even something that you want back out.
Yeah.
The Rooftop Storm actually is just, she's 4 mana if she dies once. this is just kind of like an alternative cost for her.
Oh yeah.
So it's 5 and a blue. You may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost of zombie creature spells you cast. So it just completely overrides. You may pay 0 rather than.
Yeah.
It also combos really well with the Gravecrawler and Grimgrin Corpseborn.
Combo town time.
Yeah, because now Grimgrin can eat the Gravecrawler, go up by 1. Gravecrawler goes to the yard, but it doesn't cost anything because the rooftop storm's canceling it. So you just cast it back, keep doing it. So he becomes infinitely huge. And if you've got Filth or Wonder out, or some way to give him Menace or something, like you could just,
You could probably make infinite mana too, right? If you just sack Varina with an Ash Nuts.
Yeah.
Right? It just 0 from the command zone
Also
every
true.
time.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that includes the tax.
Does it?
I actually
Because that wouldn't work.
Known, because anytime I've seen Rooftop Storm, it's when somebody with Grimgrin is about to go off. Like
yeah,
but that's for the
I've never seen it as
and a lot of the zombie commanders aren't zombies usually either.
That's,
so
yeah.
So I don't know.
Are off, like
yeah, you have Sidisi, you have Scarab
point.
God. So I actually have no idea.
Let me find out. Yes. Yeah, the Rooftop Storm allows you to pay an alternative cost as you cast your zombie. However, mandatory additional costs must still be paid, so no.
Oh.
So you do have to pay the commander cost.
Yeah,
Totally
so the
doesn't
Rooftop
work.
Storm applies to all the lords, the Grimgrin combo thing.
Sure. But now you're casting, Varina for 2.
Yeah, if you have a way to cast zombies from your graveyard using What's-Her-Face's ultimate, then yeah.
If you use
could go
Liliana,
crazy.
you
With
probably
an
want her in the
Ashen's
list.
So you just wouldn't
Yeah,
use
hell
her. Yeah. I had a feeling that was going to be the case because I'm like, commander tax is kind of hard.
That's what I was wondering. I actually never had to think about that before.
Yeah, I don't think there's very rare, if ever.
It's like
we'll talk. We'll actually talk about one of those too with the Yuriko list.
Well, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's one last thing I kind of was going to explain about if anybody sees my list. There's the Wayfarer's Bauble and the Armillary Sphere on my list. I kind of wanted to find stuff that squeezes more value out of her activated ability. Yes. So the Burnished Heart and the Solemn Simulacrum, the Armillary Sphere, and the Wayfarer's Bauble, they're just stuff that ends up in the yard that you can exile to turn into zombies.
Yeah, so they serve their purpose by being on the battlefield, getting sacked and put into the graveyard. No.
Yeah, I'm not thinking like
for her
forego signets and soul rings and stuff like that, but like if you can think about stuff to squeeze value out more and more to get a zombie from, I think that would be pretty good. And I'm just kind of trying that out. So if I end up having to cut, I think the Wayfarer Bauble is just a good card for a non-green deck.
Sure.
But the Armillary feels kind of pushing it because it doesn't go into battlefield when you sack it. But the Burnished Heart, yeah, that's a good one.
When you mentioned that, I was actually excited for that because that's one of the frustrating things to me about Varina's design is that you're exiling the stuff from the yard.
Yeah.
So it does make this extra layer in your deck building of choosing stuff like that you can get some use out of it before it ends up in the yard, and when it is in the yard, you're fine with exiling it.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with how I think this thing will work on paper, specifically just like the really crazy discard pushes.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that Words of Waste, everybody's going to be losing all their cards if you have the mana. I do feel like it could be pretty mana hungry with those ones like the Faith of the Devoted. Yeah. The Drake Haven is another good one to keep producing you more tokens. They'll be Drakes, but whatever. They're good blockers, and then later on good attackers. And then if you drop Elish Norn, now they're 4/4 flyers. So
that's fucking scary.
Yeah, fuck that angel token, right? Yeah. Pretty cool. I think it'll work. The other way to take it is definitely just lean harder on the zombie thing. There was like a lot of zombie support stuff I didn't do, like Zombie Apocalypse. It's not really about destroying all the so it's a board wipe that destroys only humans, but then it returns all zombies you control from the battlefield or from the graveyard into play.
Oh.
So because I didn't have a lot of
ditching a lot of stuff in.
Yeah, well they have to be specifically zombies, but I've got like Filth, the Glory, the Wonder, that weird sorcery that like dumps the lands back into play. That's way better than the Crucible Worlds, things like that. Like I'm pushing that a little harder. So I was thinking like maybe I get 2 or 3 out of that, and it only destroys humans. It's not that great of a board wipe.
Okay.
He'll kill the Riku. You know, I don't know why that's the human commander I think of. There's a bunch of human commanders, but you get what I mean, right? Yeah, pretty sick.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I messed with Varina a little bit too. I think when I saw her, I saw two opportunities. I saw, for one, I've been looking at Scarab God like for fucking ever.
So Scarab God's in my list as well.
Yeah, so I actually, I made a deck list that was kind of inspired by Scarab God. And two, just like
it's you have the really expensive tastes in command. So
yeah, weirdly expensive. Weirdly expensive taste.
Yeah, Amonkhet comes out. Oh, I don't want to do Scarab God. It's like a $40 card at the time.
Nicol Bolas
Ixalan drops.
Right?
Dude, Kumena,
I know.
then 19. Yeah. Oh, dude, Nicol Bolas. I want to do a Nicol Bolas list. Is there somebody else?
I don't.
Yuriko.
Yeah,
Yuriko. It was like an $18 card.
I don't know why, dude. I don't know. I'm kind of like a meta slave when I go into stuff.
I'd say you recognize good cards when you see them, but then there's Kumena, and it's like...
Yeah, that wasn't even that good. It just looked
He's
fun.
not that amazing.
I don't know why, dude. I think I just align with the general appeal with a lot of shit, so... I don't have like I haven't formed like a really solid opinion about maybe this game yet, so I kind of just look at the most promising shit. Yeah.
We need to strip you of your optimism.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think I'm too easily wooed by this kind of stuff.
If it happens one more time with...
I'm not callous enough for this game, I think.
If it happens one more time with Gilda Ravnica, I'm gonna laugh. It's like
it
seems like
100% it will.
The legend you want out of it is always like over $20, and then you're like, I can't justify that.
Yeah, that's actually the second reason I like this deck too. Is actually an opportunity to throw my most expensive shit in one deck. Like I could have just built Scarab God, but I was like, now I have Teferi's Protection and Crucible World. What I liked about Varina is I kind of even ignored the zombie stuff. What I like about her is that she's consistent with drawing you cards, and the condition that draws you the card, she makes herself too. It's like you need to exile 2 stuff from your graveyard. She's giving you a way to put stuff in your graveyard and then generating the zombie tokens. So because of that, I actually cared more about like how quickly I'm seeing stuff in my deck.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a control reanimator list.
Dope.
A lot of my deck is reactionary. So name your counter spell or your removal, and I'll just kind of sculpt my hand. This is what I need right now. I'm cool to discard and then just exile this for more card draw. And in the meantime, I'm kind of looking for
you're way more careless with everything that you don't want to reanimate.
Yeah,
with her ability.
Exactly. Yeah, and then I have big bombs in the yard, so I'm putting stuff like I have all 3 Predators, and I have Jin Cataxius, Sheoldred, and Elish Norn, because I do like the Archfiend of Ifnir, these like asymmetrical stuff.
That is some expensive taste.
Yeah, I think, but otherwise the list aligns a lot with Andy's. I think there's stuff that just makes sense in the deck. Like even if I don't care that much about zombies, the deaths, what is it, the Death Baron, it's just going to be good no matter what.
Oh yeah,
because I have force Death Touch stuff up.
Yeah,
I'm liking Death Touch more and more.
It has a huge impact on Commander games.
Yeah, because everyone values their creatures.
Everybody's creatures are valued. That's something I like. I'm always like shocked into remembering whenever I play any other format is that, oh yeah, people just kind of like throw their creatures under the bus all the time. But in Commander, people want their creatures.
Yeah,
I think exactly. In Singleton, you looked at their text, you're like, this is specifically something I'll need at some moment in time.
Yeah.
Pretty hot. Okay, so Yuriko finally.
Yeah.
Finally, Yuriko.
Yeah.
So, do you guys think we're going to Kamigawa after Ravnica?
I'm
that'd be pretty
inclined to say I think so, but I also think it was probably wasn't it one of their lower performing planes in terms of product sales?
Don't quote me on this, but I had read that the first 2 did really well. It was that last one, the Saviors, that did really poorly.
Yeah, I think it was like an awkward time for Standard too, right? I'm pretty sure like the first couple sets before this were just fucking broken, if I remember right, and they had to like tone it down. So people were like quitting Standard because the few sets before them were like fucking busted.
Yeah.
So they kind of toned down Kamigawa.
So I have this theory, and it's very loose and it's not scientific at all. But I feel like they follow certain things that people are into, like what's really big in popular media. So the things that stuck out to me is when Innistrad came out, there was a lot of like vampire kind of stuff going on. You know,
like yeah.
I think yeah.
Kind of coming off that first, yeah.
And then I'm trying to think like when, but I don't know. The way their turnaround on development time, you kind of have to think like a year or two behind.
They're probably, they kind of have a good idea. I would think about a year and a half to 2 years in advance of what they're going to be doing. So with Innistrad, that kind of makes a little more sense because the Twilight thing was probably like all the rage when they first started.
When they were rolling it. And then, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to pin down though because it seems like they just kind of follow trendy stuff. So we've got the Avengers are like in full swing.
Yeah,
and then we get the Gatewatch.
Right.
You know. And then they just killed off half the Avengers. Spoiler alert. Sorry. But yeah, like
dude, there's a lot of people celebrating at that theory.
So everyone's like, okay, bye Chandra. That's half of them, so we only lose 2. Unless we round up, then we lose 3. So let's just have Chandra, Jace, and Gideon. Let's get rid of those.
Yeah, dude, we need a different white planeswalker. I kind of fucking hate Gideon.
Boring. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
So but this is my thing. Is like, is there anything going on with like ninja, you know what I mean, samurai Edo period type culture right now? Like, is there any? I'm just trying to like observe. Is there anything going on like that?
I don't know about anything recent. I think we've always been kind of fascinated with it, though.
I don't know. I just watch super like indie movies. I'm not sure.
Because Thor is pretty big right now.
It's true.
Thor is pretty big, dude, and everybody's into Thor. And we have yet to go to like a Viking
Norse
type
plane because isn't Saskia kind of like a Norse type from a Norse type plane?
Yeah.
So
she looks like it. She's fucking.
But then the ninjutsu thing came out, and I'm like, they know they can't. Because you were even saying like you had to kind of squeeze this a little bit to get the ninja going. Yeah. And with the ability, it's not that crazy to see returns from it, but you did have to squeeze a little.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is the Commander 2018 was kind of like an appeal to demands. I think like the deck archetypes that they used, like there's definitely evidence they follow things that people want or things that are popular. You know.
Yeah, like Is It Artifacts came out.
Yeah. Is It Artifacts, Jundland, like there's evidence in multiple ways.
Okay, yeah, you're poking holes in my theory.
Yeah, dude, stop applying logic.
I don't know. It just feels like it. I don't know. There's something that seems like whatever's going on a little bit, they kind of lean on a little bit. I don't know. I don't have a lot of proof.
I would be down with it because I
like the level up cards from Rise of Eldrazi. Like that was kind of like a nod with that was like during MMO hell, like when there was just MMOs for everything. And leveling up was just. I mean, that's been true to every video game. That's not unique to MMOs, but
sure,
you know, like that was one time.
I would be down for it.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, these content creators.
The one that kind of throws me off is Ixalan. Where was that?
Too.
Where was Ixalan when they were dumping
Jurassic
out
World?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right, and Monster Hunter.
And Monster Hunter
World. I actually joked about that. I'm like, let's go to fucking Ixalan, dude. But it didn't come out for like a year on PC, so I actually never played that.
It missed its window.
Yeah.
All right, Ninja. Let's do it. Let's do your Ninja shit.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is probably the deck that I wanted since I saw Magic the Gathering when I was like 13. I was like, I want fucking
You wanted
ninjas.
Dimir that wasn't mill too.
Yeah, so it kind of
thing.
So I jumped on it as soon as I thought. And yeah, here's the expensive tasting we're talking about. It's $23 right now.
Oh, is it seriously?
Is it up to 20?
It's already gone up like just in a couple weeks.
It's half the cost.
So as of today, right, as of time of recording, it's $23. So it's over half the MSRP for subjective reality.
I actually did buy that deck, even though we said don't buy product.
I bought it.
I mean, Andy, I've been true to you.
You bought one of the precons, man.
I did it because I just don't have a lot of cards. But yeah, let me read it off. So Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow. It's a 1 in Dimir, legendary human ninja. So it's a 1/3 and it has Commander Ninjutsu.
What the fuck is Commander Ninjutsu?
What?
So it's you know, if you've ever heard of ninjutsu, it's specifically from the command zone. But Commander Ninjutsu for Dimir. If you pay Dimir, return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card onto the battlefield from your hand or the command zone tapped and attacking. So it's kind of like a ninja. Just like last second, it just kind of swaps out.
Jutsu in. It turns out it wasn't a log after all. It was Naruto the entire time.
The whole time, dude.
Yeah.
And her second line of text, whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana cost.
And that's where the fucking honey is.
Yeah, and that's where the show starts. So I like her I like her a lot for the commander for ninjas, because if you look at all of the other ninjas, they only care about the specific instance, and it's usually like fucking expensive.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's
give us like an example.
Yeah, so Silent Blade Oni, it itself is 3 and 2 blue, 2 black.
God, that's
so
like
so 7
guild
CMC.
master right there.
Exactly. And then with the ninjutsu, you know, apparently they're doing you a favor by letting you pay just 4 colorless and Demir.
So sick.
Jesus.
So 6 for the same so that's what I mean. It's like you're paying 6 for after all the setup you already did just to get an attacker through.
True.
So it feels
I've always
awkward.
thought-
Because you had to kind of like preload that, right? You had to have a creature that was
Exactly.
less likely to be blocked.
Exactly. And then the payoff is this. Whenever Silent Blade Oni deals combat damage to a player, look at that player's hand. You may cast a non-land card in it without paying that card's mana cost to 6/5.
So the payout could be high.
It's cool. It's just
I mean, like the payoff has to be good in this kind of a case, right? Because that's a lot of mana investment
Exactly.
to make this happen.
But what I don't like about why I feel like ninjutsu's pretty clunky, besides Yuriko, is that after that instance happens, you're just kind of fucking sitting there. You know what I mean? We kind of talked about it's like, you know, it's like role playing the
dropped out of
rogue
stealth.
architect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you dropped out of stealth, and
You know,
that was your whole thing. Like you did your kidney shot, you got all your damage and your crits, and now you're just kind of sitting there.
Your kidney.
So the deck is designed a little different than I've kind of done decks, to where I cared more about the curve than I usually do. What I mean by that is I usually care about, as fast as I can, just draw a bunch of cards, just battle cruise my way into, you know, all this rampant mana and start dropping big bombs.
Okay.
Where Yuriko, there's a very specific, like, this happens turn 1, this happens turn 2, and then this happens turn 3.
What are those things?
So let me break it down. So turn 1 it's kind of obvious. Let me just give you an example of what's in here. So Triton Shorestalker, it's a blue. Triton Shorestalker can't be blocked. 1/1 Merfolk Rogue. So turn 1 this is the guy that's going through no matter what. Like, I don't care what's happening. Or like Invisible Stalker, it's a hexproof, unblockable 1/1, and I think that's 1 in a blue. So turn 1 is all about just getting me set up to connect.
Really wanting to make sure you get through with that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So something has to connect, and then turn 2 is obviously Yuriko.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's always like that. I have this thing flooded with, I think there's, if I look at just my converted mana cost count, I have 10 1 CMC cards that are effective reprints.
Damn.
Yeah. So like no matter what, turn 1 I am drawing into
A vehicle.
Yeah,
a
like you're-
vehicle.
You're keeping it low to the ground for sure.
Exactly.
Huh.
So that's what I mean. And then Yuriko turn 2. Turn 3 is what's kind of awkward, and where a lot of like
Well, because that turn 1's back in your hand now.
Exactly.
Because Yuriko'd it.
Exactly. And then Yuriko's just sitting there.
Yeah, the mechanic
and that's what I was
is really,
talking about.
They're really demanding, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it is. It requires a lot of setup, and I'll talk about how I got around that. But this is kind of what's been puzzling people too. I think there's even a Reddit thread like, "What are you guys doing turn 3 for Yuriko?" Like specifically, it said in the title, like, "What are you guys doing for that third turn?"
Chrome Lantern.
So that's one. So more ramp just to kind of continue going on. A lot of my thought process was getting these ninjas that are already out either back in my hand or through. So I'm either giving it evasion with things like Biden of Thassa. It's a legendary enchantment artifact. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. You can play colorless and a blue. Creatures your opponents control attack this turn if able. Oh, sorry, that's actually a different one. So it'd actually be more evasion, like Whisper Silk Cloak.
Yeah.
So equip creature is unblockable. Equip creature has Shroud. Pay 2 for the equip cost.
Okay.
So it's a lot of that. Just getting the ninjas that are already out, some different vehicles, some other forms of evasion,
Yeah.
or ways to get it back in my hand. So you can use sack outlets for Yuriko because she actually doesn't care, no matter what, how many times she dies. you're paying the commander ninjutsu cost. So
Which isn't activated.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, I am trying to get her back in my hand. I even have something called Equilibrium. It's a colorless and 2 blue enchantment. Whenever you successfully cast a creature spell, you may pay 1 to return target creature to its owner's hand.
So you could do that to an opponent.
Yes. So that actually becomes, an option to control somebody else's board or get your ninjas back set up where you want them. You want them in your hand, and you want the unblockable stuff.
So to walk through this, you would use this off the unblockable.
Yes.
Because the ninjutsus wouldn't work with this.
Yes.
But
exactly.
the ninjas are the guy you want back in your hand anyway, so...
Exactly. And then now it's in the position I want. Or Yuriko's back in command zone.
Man, if this had Grixis colors...
Oh, fuck.
That would be fucking sweet.
Yeah, because you could do like Palace Siege, haste.
Oh, yeah.
And more haste. That's the other thing. Because normally these are like choked up turns. Like you're stalling every other turn with with bouncing the stuff.
So you're needing like boots and greaves in that case.
Yeah.
Like to kind of make it go forward a little faster.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the red would actually help a ton. Because now that I'm thinking about it, as I'm talking about this curve, we actually don't have haste. So, and we'll talk about...
Other than your boots and...
Yeah, other than the boots. We have some protect... Like I have Teferi's Veil in here.
Oh,
which is kind of, it kind of illustrates how much of a glass cannon this deck really is. So let me pull that up. So Teferi's Veil, it's an enchantment, 1 in a blue. Whenever any creature you control attacks, it phases out at the end of combat.
Because you're not going to block with these guys anyway.
Exactly.
You're just going to take it.
So they'll attack, and then basically they're gone until my next, upkeep, pretty much. So the only way you can interact with my board state is at instant speed. So this is a good way around board wipes.
Or engage in player destruction.
Yeah, or just fucking kill them.
Kill them.
Because the best control magic is just to fucking kill them.
There's no blacker magic
philosophy
than death.
101.
Yeah.
So that's essentially kind of the curves I'm talking about. You just want to get Yuriko as soon as possible, and then you want some way to either get ninjas back in your hand or get them through so they're not useless when they're just sitting there. Because it's going to be... No one's going to not block, Silent Blade Oni when she's out, or Yuriko.
Yeah, They're going to do what they can to block them.
Yeah,
do they need to hit to get your trigger?
They have to deal combat damage, exactly. So that's why Unblockables...
Yes.
Most of this deck is designed around just getting these guys through.
So ninjas, what are good ninjas?
So
are all ninjas good ninjas, or do you have like a catalog of ones that you would recommend over others?
So I think the best ninja, I think my favorite ninja is just the Sakashima student, just because it's anything you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then it counts as a ninja.
Is it a ninja in addition to its other types, though?
Yes, it becomes a ninja in addition to its other types. I like that one. I think, what is it? Ink Eyes Servant Oni.
Oh, yeah.
So 4 and 2 black, ninjutsu for 3 and 2 black. Whenever Ink Eyes Servant of Oni deals combat damage to a player, you may put target creature card from that player's graveyard into play under your control. Colorless and a black, regenerate Ink Eyes.
So she's harder to kill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
what is her power and toughness?
It's a 5/4.
So she hits pretty hard and reanimates a creature out of somebody's yard.
Exactly. So her...
Is it the person you hit's yard or any?
Let me read that. So put target creature from that player's graveyard. So yeah, specifically who you wanted to go through them. So those 3, Ink Eyes, Silent Blade Oni, and Sakashima Student, I think are just going to be one of the best ones.
They're the top end.
Yeah, they're the top end. And then there's some more like there's some more conditional stuff, like Throat Slitter is a 4 and a black, ninjutsu 2 and a black. Whenever Throat Slitter deals combat damage to a player, destroy target non-black creature that player controls.
So
2
a
and a
Doom
2.
Blade.
So a Doom Blade.
Plus it's a rat, dude.
Honestly, as we start going...
He's into rats.
Dude, I am, dude. I want a rat commander that's not Marinar.
Just straight up.
Rat's a pretty cool tribe.
Yeah.
Rat is a pretty cool tribe. Honestly, though, as I start going down more and more ninjas, they just become pretty lackluster. What I cared more about in this deck was Yuriko's effect, that she cares about ninjas connecting, not necessarily the individual ninjas' combat triggers. Just kind of Yuriko giving me the
You
card
value
advantage.
her ninja trigger over just whatever they're glued to, other than those 3.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
So exactly. So I put all 3 of the kind of hack enchantments. So I'll give you an idea. So Xenograph, 4 and a blue. As Xenograph enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Each creature you control is the chosen type in addition to its other types. So that's where the hack ball comes from. You're literally hacking the text of all of your cards to say they're also ninjas.
Sick.
So now, your invisible stalker. That thing is getting through. It's hexproof.
Human rogue and human rogue ninja.
Yeah, human rogue ninja.
That seems to go well together.
They're all giving me Yuriko triggers now, which is what I value the most out of this deck. It's the card advantage and it's hitting everybody.
Yeah.
What are some other abilities that do that? There's another blue one, isn't there? That changed the typing.
Oh yes. So arcane adaptation.
Yes.
So
that's the one.
same thing. It's pretty much the same thing. And the third one,
They, I think, are in your hand too, right? Or does that even matter?
I think it's your whole deck. So creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield.
So ninjas. So even the creatures in your graveyard become ninjas.
Yeah. So you can
You get to be
so you can use
ninja.
tribal.
You get to be a ninja.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to be a ninja.
Right.
It's just like the all-inclusive tribe.
So it's 1993.
Yeah. I think conspiracy's the last
Dude, it
one.
was ninjas. We were pretty deep, man.
No, for sure.
Like there was Donatello, Michelangelo, Tum Tum, Rocky, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, Snake Eyes and his jerk brother, whatever his name, Stormwind or whatever. What's the bad one that's in all white? There was ninjas.
remember.
Yeah, dude, there was ninjas.
It was a fucking
Tommy,
ninja
Jason,
epidemic.
and Billy, they were ninjas too.
Yeah.
Wait, were the Power Rangers ninjas? They weren't ninjas.
They were ninjas.
Do you think?
I think they had a
it's
specific
like-
one that was ninjas.
I don't
but
think they were ninjas. They weren't ninjas.
Okay.
Yeah, I take that back.
I
Okay.
mean,
Sorry, continue.
the show's Japanese AF.
Hey.
But
True. Green Ninja. Green Ranger. He's the best.
it's true.
Yeah,
He the one
that's.
that had the flute.
Yeah.
Like his
I remember that.
He had a flute that sounded like a synthesizer, but it sounded like if you think about the layers of ridiculousness of that flute, it's crazy. It's a dagger.
It's a dagger.
That's supposed to be a flute, but it sounds like a trumpet that sounds like it's on a synthesizer. It's fucking deep. It's hard. It'll keep you up at night thinking about it. Sorry.
And then you
Whoever
find
did the
yourself
music probably had a
contemplating
fucking
Captain
blast with that
Corelli
thing.
and
It's like, I
Captain
don't know what I
Corelli's
want this thing to
mandolin.
Yeah,
sound like.
it's hard, man. A dagger that's a flute that sounds like a trumpet, but it's clearly been being done through a synthesizer.
Oh fuck.
Now that we've kind of established like our turn 1, turn 2, turn 3,
Okay.
the rest of it was the payoff. Okay, so I'm drawing cards
And
it's
burning.
doing it, and we're burning based
And
off
burning.
CMC.
Yeah.
Like fucking burn. I think someone on our pre-con box night, they did the Skull Storm.
Yeah.
So that's 9 CMC.
Whoa.
Like turn 2. I think what's crazy about this is usually the damage equates to how much mana you're putting into it.
Yeah.
But what's cool about Yuriko is that she actually doesn't give a shit how much you've invested. It just what happens to be on the top of your deck.
Yeah.
So for 2 mana turn 2, I can knock someone for like 9 damage if it's a Skull Storm or even like a Treasure Cruise. So here's something I struggled with, and I see it in a lot of people's lists, is something clever you can do is use split cards, because it'll account for the entire CMC, but you don't have to do all of it. So let me give you an example one. So commit to memory, right? So in total it's 3 in blue for the commit side, 4 and 2 blue for memory side. So what that's going to be, that's 10.
Damn.
10, but really you could be using commit for 4, which is an instant, put target spell or non-line permanent into its owner's library second from the top. So
that's not. It's 2 in
It's
a
actually
blue.
useful.
it's 3 in a blue.
3 in a
So
blue.
that's cool because you can set yourself up for another huge burn for Yuriko, and you only need 2 ninjas to actually get it off right then.
Oh yeah, you can do it to yourself.
Yeah, and that one's an instant. And then memory is aftermath. Cast this spell only from your graveyard, then exile it. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draw 7 cards. So that one's probably one of the cooler ones out of the split cards. Something that I was afraid of is just drawing a split card that I didn't think would be as useful in my hand. So here's one that, to give an example, Spite and Malice. So this is just a really heavy counter spell. So it's 3 in colorless and a blue to counter target non-creature spell. So it's 4 that I have to leave up, and it's conditional.
Yeah.
It's like a shittier negate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Twice
Malice, the Malice part is 3 and a black. Destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. So a really expensive Doomblade. See, this is cute. Like, you get 8 CMC, but I was scared to actually have this thing in my hand when I could have more useful answers.
Right.
Sure.
Because even if I have just 3 ninjas...
The other thing is you're being a tyrant with the life totals, right?
Exactly.
Like if you reveal this and hit everybody for, what is that? The accumulation of that one?
That was 8.
8.
That would have been 8.
People aren't going to be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a big hit.
That's the thing about stuff like this, is that everybody feels justified in coming after you.
Like,
it's weird how long a painful quandary can go and people aren't attacking you over a painful quandary, but when you do stuff like this, it's everybody loses their fucking mind because we all lost 6 life.
It's like Vial Smasher. You always play it off like, hey, I didn't do the fucking damage, dude.
See, Vial Smashers, everyone it's a classic like gambling problem. You know what I mean? They delude themselves.
It's a gambling style. It's like, well, it's gonna hit Kyle the next.
But every time it doesn't hit you,
you're forgetting something. In this play group, Vial Smasher only hits Brad.
Yeah, he is fucking
like always.
You need to worry about Vial Smasher after Brad's dead.
He kept rolling low. This is when we knew it was like his fucking card. He kept rolling low off my Vial Smasher, and he's like, let's just do high. Just let's switch it to high. And I'm like, all right, whoever rolls highest takes the damage. He rolled a fucking 20. He's like, I fucking hate this goblin, man, but I love her.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. It feels like that painful quandary. But with this, where there's just absolutely no other way of articulating
when
it,
you
but
played
this guy's a
we were
fucking
on
problem.
Your ass over nothing. Like,
yeah, over nothing.
You would deal like maybe 4 damage.
I think I had 2 ninjas, but the point is, like, no one could do anything about it, though. They're both unblockable.
Yeah.
I had Teferi's Veil out.
Yeah, they knew.
I think that was enough for people to
sure.
be like, this guy's a problem for fucking everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
that could be why. Is the way you've set up this deck, it's difficult to stop you from getting in.
Yeah, and it feels like Nikusur, you know, like there's no way to talk your way out of it. And it also a weird position to be
embrace
in.
It.
Yeah.
So just embrace
also
it.
Weird position to be in as an aggro player is like kind of targeting. Well, personally for me, like I feel bad swinging for 20 if the person isn't really pulling ahead, but they're just kind of open.
Sure.
But with this, it's like, oh yeah, dude, everyone's gonna love me for this. You know, like it makes you feel like a hero instead. But yeah, so something that I did have to deal with is that, like, there's a lot of targets on my head. So I actually did have to ramp up a lot of the counterspell and removal that I would normally have.
Okay.
Because say there's a propaganda out, right? Or like a ghostly prison. I can't do anything about that. Like I can't afford the 2 mana, and I don't have really enchantment removal and Dimir.
Yeah,
so,
like the removal for that is a counter spell.
Yeah, I'll have to catch it as it's coming down.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that I had to prepare for. So I think there's like 7 counter spells, something like that. I normally only run like 3.
You running 7?
Yeah, like 7 counter spells. It's like my answer for, I don't have any other answer for Pillow. I guess I can, latch onto one guy and just let the strange damage do it. But if,
7 is a lot.
Yeah, so I have 7 right now. I might nuke it down. Another thing that's happening with this deck list as well is we're kind of doing the budget league. So we're doing, everything's under $5. Besides Yuriko herself.
That's budget for us.
Yeah, that's budget for us. Something that you do get to start to mess with, but it's definitely the non-budget acquisitions.
Yes.
Is the top deck manipulation portion of it. So I'll give you an idea, right? We kind of talked about things are getting through and big damage is happening if we set it up right. So if we can make that consistent with, let me pull, what's the most nuttiest one? It's the fucking scroll rack.
Yeah.
So scroll rack, like I said, it's $60.
Repeating it up.
Yeah, it's $60 right now. It's 2 colorless. So 1 in tap. Choose any number of cards in your hand and set those cards aside. Put an equal number of those cards from the top of your library into your hand. Then put the card set aside in this way on the top of your library in any order. So if
you could sort the next few triggers with her.
Yeah,
exactly.
To make sure you're squeezing the most damage out.
I keep fucking going after this, and I'm sorry, but that card was already expensive prior to this deck coming out.
Yeah.
but it's shot up like 15-20 bucks since.
Has it?
I'm pretty sure it was in like the mid 30s when we were doing the review.
Fuck you. Really?
Yeah, it's super.
Where's Sensei's at?
So
That probably went up too.
specific. Maybe it was before right before the review, because I did Vivictus,
Okay.
that deck tech, and
Yeah, it's top deck.
there's top deck manipulation that you want to do there. And I remember looking at Scroll Rack and thinking it was in the 30s somewhere.
God, we gotta start getting like a
$60.
And Sensei's
start getting
dividing
like a
top
ticker.
is 25.
You know, get like a huge big screen in
I
a
bought
front
one of
room
those
with
for
just
like
like a ticker
15.
of the card prices as they fucking go up and down, so we can watch them every day. It's
Yeah.
nuts. Because yeah, what's this top back up to?
It's $25 now. So
See,
that's
they
what,
banned it.
$10.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if then when they banned it out of Legacy, it did a lot, but yeah, of course it's climbing back up.
I mean, I'd rather focus on your deck, but I don't know. Stuff like that just keeps coming up to me where I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Scroll
it's
Rack.
getting hard to keep up with. I mean, luckily with the Yuriko deck, you can pull it off. I'm kind of noticing these really expensive cards. I'm pretty okay with not having, because it's more so about just setting up more consistency of your strategy.
Sure.
Where they're not always
And you can do
necessarily essential.
Brainstorm.
Yeah, like I can do a brainstorm. Mystical
Crystal
Tutors
Ball.
like $8. I have Crystal Ball in here, like, you know, but it's not the most efficient way to do it.
Sure.
You know, like the way my
And
decks are
recursive.
designed, I actually don't run tutors. I like to have it to where it's just a bunch of effective
Draw.
reprints of kind of the same kind of strategies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just
yeah.
hope I draw into them.
I dig that.
You know, but that's definitely the non-budget acquisition of the Yuriko list. I know a lot of. I think the competitive list is kind of centered around like a Doomsday Nexus of Fate combo, to where you're pretty much setting up, you know, infinite turns, and you're burning for 7 every time with the Nexus of Fate draw.
That's fucking.
So there's some fucking
What's that
crazy
one
ways you
going
can
for
do
right
this.
now?
It doesn't even have the fucking price on here.
Wasn't it? It's the buy a box promo,
Yeah, it's
right?
Yeah, it's the
buy
buy box promo.
And everybody's
Best
up
idea
in arms
ever.
about that shit.
Such a good idea.
Yeah, the first one was Boros, right? That was, or the fucking
That's $35.
Boros Legends, and it's like whatever.
Yeah, it's
Jesus.
$35.
That card's gonna be nuts. That Nexus of Fate.
Yeah.
In like a year or two, even it's gonna be pretty bad.
Shit, should we
prices.
buy one?
Dude, let's invest.
Yeah, honestly.
Get a place out of it.
Start pooling our money to make a cube. Put in our cube. That's pretty cool. How do you feel about how it performs, though? You played it once.
It's hard. I think I've had an interesting experience getting acclimated to Commander, because I started with Kaientai Group Hug. That's my very exposure to Commander Night, to where no one ever wants to attack me, pretty
Yeah.
much, you know.
Pretty, yeah.
So I got accustomed to that, where I just kind of lay low. I don't draw hate. People are drawing cards and they're having a good time. And then I start messing
they're having
with these.
a good time.
Yeah, they're having a good time. Everybody, you know,
They're seeing
games.
more of their deck. This is fucking cool.
Yeah, I'm like the good guy, and
Deck's
then
a
I
scam.
start slowly building these decks that are for sure arch enemy on the board. Like I built Nakusur,
Oh yeah.
built
Yeah.
Alicia,
Alicia's.
And
then-
I
Oh,
think, got
yeah.
that
and then
one.
now Yuriko, and it's hard. It's hard in a play group where 3 other people for fucking sure should be dealing with you. And especially in Yuriko, it's not like it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Then they make the decision. They know it's happening turn 2 that you're the guy they should probably get rid of.
Yeah.
So I think that's hard to navigate, but I think this is kind of the deck to do it, because it goes off fucking fast. It's pretty consistent. Like I said, there's 10 1-drops that are getting me that turn, and they're always getting me the unblockable Yuriko trigger, and it's card draw. So I actually really like this deck. I think for sure you put yourself on a clock as soon as you just bring out your deck. You know, like you're on the
I
clock.
mean, if you can
for
move
sure.
fast enough, what difference is it going to make? Like, yeah, you're not going to win at 40 health,
Yeah.
but if you can move faster than everyone, because everyone's looking to develop mana rocks at this point. Like,
Yeah.
the unblockable
exactly.
really isn't, unless you have
Yeah,
like a
there's-
lot of mana dorks or something. Like, these are not phases people are resolving.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Things.
people
But
that
yours
are
is
gonna have
more of
things
like-
they won't block with,
Right.
or they just don't have creatures.
Yeah, and even without these huge CMC spells, if I had 2 ninjas attacking and it drew me a Soul Ring and a Signet, well, for 1, I just drew 2 cards. And for 2, it's still 4 fucking damage to everybody.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or 3, yeah. It's still 3 damage to everybody, and that's in Nakusur. You know,
That's
Nakusur
enough
you
to
want.
piss everybody off.
Yeah, it's enough
Can
to piss
you
everybody
believe this?
Holy
like this
shit.
asshole.
Somebody lands oppression and everyone's just kind of annoyed, even though oppression has deleted half your deck. You will not cast half your deck
Right.
unless you've got some strategy to work around it.
But I did fucking 3 damage.
But
so
you
I'm
do 3
gone.
damage and everyone loses their shit.
But I'm gone. Yeah.
It's true, dude. I can't explain it.
It's kind of like that movie Pleasantville, where like everything's black and
so
white.
crazy.
Starts getting colored. Like you're the person that's bringing color
Yeah.
into
It's 'cause
people's
everybody's
lives,
fucking.
and nobody likes it.
Really?
It's because everybody's fucking. So it's it's like this weird TV show that takes place in the 50s, and Spider-Man goes in there and
Yeah,
like
Tobey Maguire.
yeah, he gets inside the show, and it's got Harry in it from Dumb and Dumber, and he's like just some dude, and they're like, yeah, we don't fuck here, and then he like bangs a girl or some shit, and all of a sudden everything starts coming to life with color.
Yeah, like his mom starts like playing with herself, and like a tree catches fire.
Yeah, she's like, she's fucking, she's jilling off, and like a tree explodes in the corner.
Dude, it has to be that.
How does this relate to what oppression?
What I'm saying is he's the one that's disrupting our like perfectly calm black and white lives, and bringing color and setting trees on fire.
It's
see
true.
it.
No, I think what it is, I think it's that. Like I think the biggest point of that is that people didn't have a say in that scenario. Like people didn't have a say that things are getting colored. But if you can say like, hey, pick one color, but it's fucking happening. You know, they're like, all right, red. You know, like they're not as
This
like
is the strangest freaking like.
This is what happens when you talk to me. I make weird metaphors.
It's like that movie Pleasantville.
Here's
what?
So remember,
And you're just going with it.
Remember send triplets?
Yeah, I remember.
It's probably the closest to the ground I can get this, analogy. It's that when that fucking stuffy doll and the mountain got played. If it was if Brad chose to discard those from an oppression, he'd be like, yeah, I guess I don't fucking need these right now. But it was the point that it was Cameron that did it. It's
And
the point
Cameron
that it
played
wasn't him making the decision. So it's kind of like Yuriko. Like no one's choosing to lose fucking 4 life.
I've never seen anybody get more angry.
I don't know. It was a fun. I don't know, dude. It was humorous. I was having a blast that night. I was like, "That's fucking hilarious."
He was so pissed.
No, it's just one of those moments where like nobody knows how to react. Like,
And then Cameron tried to contextualize. It's like, dude, it's a stuffy doll. He's like, yeah, it's a fucking stuffy doll. Read the text, dude.
It's my fucking stuff.
you don't know what I had planned.
I mean, he's right. It's a strong card.
Yeah, it's true.
The
Oh my
Pleasantville
god,
analogy. No
it's
one
just
can
crazy.
choose what color everything's gonna. Fucking yeah. To me, I think when effects like this, like impact tremors, Perforos, your thing, I think it's the one thing everybody has in common. So when I discard a card from oppression, like I might have a plan to loop that or exploit it even in some commander cases, but my life total is something that everybody shares is a life total. Strategies, like we're rarely sharing the same strategy. We're both wanting the same outcome not outcome, but pathway to the end of the game.
Yeah.
The outcome is obviously we all want to win, but we all lose the same ways that we're losing the life. So that's why effects like that, like, so we're going to do our politics episode, and I actually have a whole subsection of cards that just like you're asking for it. Like when you play these cards, like you're just asking for it, regardless of what they're doing.
Sure.
That's my big comparison. Like I've in my experience, and this might just be the group that we're playing with because this is just subjective, but Painful Quandary and Oppression pull less fucking focus than shit like that.
And they do way more fucking damage too.
Oh, yeah.
Or way more
to your
resource
strategy,
denial.
to your ability to win, to everything.
And like Spell Shock, I think is another one where
It adds up.
It adds up, and like for some odd reason, like it just goes under the radar.
Yeah, but
People don't deal with Spell Shock for long periods of time.
if you put like a life counter on it and like kept track of how much damage it's doing, it would.
We should do that.
We
just
really
put a
should.
dice on it. What's that? Well, I'm just gonna track how
I
much
started doing
damage
that
it
with
fucking does.
Smasher. I did like 80 damage or something like that.
Yeah,
over the
like
course of the
there was a game where
it was
you
a
did
lot.
pretty much all the work with just Smash.
It was a lot. Yeah.
All right, man.
Well, Tribal Ninja, Tribal Zombie.
Those are cool decks.
Yeah, it's a tribal episode. It's actually C 2017.
Yeah.
Kind of is, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Cool.
are we just gonna close with awkward silence, looking at each other.
It's the best we're gonna get. I mean, it's not. It can be intimate.
Group hug.
Group hug. You wish. Again. Deck's a scam.